Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Motivation for Young Christians. Welcome back, welcome back.
Today we have a very special guest in the building. We have Mr. Fernando Wilson.
Pleasure to be on the show. Thank you, Esron. I appreciate it so much, and I hope that anything we share today that it benefits at least one person. And I think we did a good job then, right?
Fernando is a financial advisor, and he has his own firm that he runs for his mother. And today we're going to get into a lot of questions around that. So our very first question for today is, what led to the creation of the finance firm?
That's a great question. And so what actually led to that was my mom. She started this business when I was 3 years old, believe it or not. And so now today I'm 28, going on 29 in the next few months. And this is all I really know how to do. This is all I really know how to do. So, she was educated long ago when I was younger about finances. And, at the time she was, working at a bank and, doing other things. And so she was, I'm one of 8 children. And so I guess you could say I'm number 6. And, when she learned about finances and how to do way better, and it transformed all of our futures. Because now all I know is the things that she taught me.
And that is actually very important because oftentimes, especially within our community, a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. So the main focus is just trying to pay the bills, just trying to keep the lights on, just trying to keep a roof over your head. And saving is not always some of the biggest thing, not always the thing that we do based on majority of people live paycheck to paycheck. And this will lead us into our second question. When it comes to spending your money, how do you decide what is a need and a want?
Well, depending on who you talk to, right? They may say, man, I really need this new bag. I really need this car. I really need, you know what I mean? So it just comes down to whether or not this is something that you can do without in order to live, and we all know, like, food, shelter, clothing, transportation, things like that. You need those things, right? You need what you need so that way, you need to pay your bills, all that kind of stuff. But the wants, when it comes to the wants, it's like, okay, you really have to sit down and write it out. Like, what is this doing for me? What is this going to help me with? Now, obviously, getting something new or the latest tech. Look, I'm a tech person. Right now, I got phone, a Mac computer, my iPad, you know what I mean? So, but the question is, do I need it for what I'm planning to do? Or is it something that I just want? Is it absolutely necessary to accomplish the goals and dreams that I have right here and today? Or is it just something nice to enjoy or flex or whatever? And there's nothing wrong with a want. It's just being able to decipher the difference between need and a want and giving them the proper priority, whether that's right now, which for most people, instant gratification, it's right now, or that's sometime in the future.
And I know that's very important because need versus want, it goes based off of the person and then the amount of money that you have. Like for me, very soon I want to get a professional. Now that's a need in my situation because I'm a videographer, I'm a YouTuber. I professionally create and make videos, create, edit, and publish. Me getting that camera, which is about $700, that's a need for me. Now looking by the price, like $700, you may think that's a want. You don't need a $700 camera, but with good quality and then the period of time that you're going to use it, you're going to have to spend more money because more money, more quality equals more money. The more quality you want in something, you're going to have to spend more money. And the longer you want it to last, you're going to have to spend more money. So when we having pay that $700, that's going to be a need for me. That's going to help what I'm doing. But say if I'm going for $400 shoes, that's a want. I don't need $400 shoes because that is not helping me out anyhow, except just being fly in school and people recognizing your shoes. But other than that, there's no benefit that's coming out of that $400 shoes. But there's a lot of benefit coming out of that $700 camera. So it's based on your circumstances.
Right, absolutely. What is it going to be able to propel you to help you do? What are you trying to accomplish right now that you need to help you get where you're going? And so, but that means that you have to know where you're going, because when you don't know where you're going, any path will do, and then it's easy to confuse needs and wants because you're not really sure where you're going.
That is actually very important. And then question number 3: why should a person spend less than they're earning?
They say that joy is making $100 and spending 99, and absolute frustration is making $100 and spending 101. So it doesn't matter, if you're making $1 million or making $10,000 a year. You're spending $1 over what you're making. You're never gonna be in a good, comfortable position. You're never gonna feel good. So it's really that people spend less than they earn because just mentally and emotionally, you're gonna feel better about your life, where you're going, and what you're doing when you're within your means. When you're not within your means, there's all types of stuff that you're going to get feel that's not necessarily, it's not going to help you. It's not good, and it doesn't give you peace.
And then also it helps to prevent you from getting into debt, because once you spend more than you have, that's debt. Now that's putting yourself into a debt, and then as you continue to do that, At times we don't pay attention to it until one day you look and then you realize, I'm negative $300, I'm negative 400, I'm negative 500 now. And say if you're living in a situation where you're making your I forgot the word, living paycheck to paycheck, now it's going to be hard to get rid of this $500 debt because you're already not saving a lot. You're already living paycheck to paycheck. As soon as the paycheck come in, it goes straight to bill. So it puts you in a very bad situation. So saving the difference, whether it's $1, 50 cents, $5, $10, the saving is going to work. Because continue to save, you're going to continue to grow. And the earlier you started, the better you're going to be because you're going to learn how to manage your money good. And then the earlier you save, the more money that you're going to have later on.
Yeah. So I like to say, obviously people talk about having a cushion, right? And that only happens when you don't spend everything that you earn. Now, here's the other thing with that. If you don't keep anything that you make and all that goes out, your possibilities next month are no better than your possibilities last month because you don't have any more money. The more resources you have, the more options you have. So as you begin to make money and keep some of it, next month, you'll have more than you had last month, which means you have more options. The next month after that, you'll have even more than you had the previous 2 months. So that means you'll have more options. And so it's so important that you start to keep some of what you make and don't let it all out, because if you let it all go out, that leaves you with very few options. And how many people want to have no options,
This actually leads us right into the fourth question for today. Why should we track our expenses and start a budget?
I think a lot of people, they feel like they don't want to do stuff like that because they feel like they're restricting themselves. But what they don't know is that actually once you set boundaries for yourself, it actually allows you to have more freedom. I know it sounds weird. It's like, wait, if I put restrictions for myself, I'm going to be more free? Yeah, absolutely. Because now you can play within this box in a sense that you've created to help you accomplish all your goals. So it's really important that you put a budget together and you start one of those things and know where expenses are, because if you're operating off of feelings, you can feel like you're doing good. You can feel like you're saving. You can feel like you're moving in the direction you want to go. But if you have no way to measure it, you don't know how well you're really doing. And so success is a statistical event. So once you hit whatever the numbers are, then you're, whatever success is for you, successful in whatever that goal, dream, or accomplishment was. But if you don't know the numbers, if you're not tracking it, if you don't have any means of measuring it, then how are you going to know you're getting closer or farther away, or you're going to hit it or you're not going to hit it? It's really important to have that, especially when it comes to your personal finances. Are you on track? But you can't measure it unless you're, tracking it.
And then also with tracking your expenses, it helps you to cut down the amount of money that you spend. Because say if you get a $2 coffee every single day that you go to work, and say that you work 28 days in a month, $2 a day for 28 days. I think if you do that math, 2 times 28, I don't know that off the top of my head. I think it's probably.
I'll take 2 off 6. 2 times 30 is 60. You take $4 off that. That's 56.
It's a good amount of money. So you're probably spending a good $60, $50 a month.
And that's if you're not eating at Starbucks.
Tracking expenses.
Because it ain't $2 at Starbucks.
That's if you're not eating at Starbucks. But by tracking that expense, you can see that I'm spending $60 a month on coffee. I need to track this down. Whether, I get the coffee maker at my house, the different espressos and everything. And now you can just make the coffee at your home and just take you each day instead of spending the money. So it helps you to eliminate your spending and also watch your spending, because there have been situations like that where people spend that much money in a month without you realizing that I just spent $60 on coffee that I could have saved, that I could have reduced it and, buy the coffee maker, buy the price for it, which I'm not really sure the price, but probably like less than $30, depending on everything. But just by doing that, you will save more money. You could save that $30 and just put it either in a retirement, in an emergency fund, your regular saving. It helps you to eliminate your expenses.
You'll be surprised. Most people are. When you put it down, because when everything's in your head, it's jumbled, it seems like a lot, or it seems like a little, it seems, but you don't have any way of really knowing until you get it written. You got it written, you're like, I can't tell you how many people are like, wow, I'm spending $400 a month eating out, $600 eating out. Like, I can't believe this. Like, this is, whatever it is, just track it. And if you're okay with that number when you see it, then fine. But if you're not okay with it, now you have an opportunity to change that.
Also with saving, investing is also a good thing. So which leads us into our fifth question. Why should we save?
I don't really like saving, because saving doesn't get you free. A lot of us were taught, you got to save, you got to save, you got to save. You got to keep some of your money. That's why I changed the verbiage, because, whatever terms you use, is important. So, saving, just putting money to the side is not enough. It's not going to get you free. You can't save your way to retirement. You can't save your way to some of the bigger things that you want to accomplish in your life. you need to keep some of the money that you make and then invest it, okay? And the reason why is because if you save a really nice amount of money, whatever you consider that to be, let's just say it was 10% of your income. If you saved it, right? If you make 20,000 a year, that's to make 50,000 a year, that's 5,000. You make 100 grand a year, that's 10,000, right? But if you save that, let's say on the upper end, let's say 100 grand a year, you save $10,000 a year for the next 40 years that you're working, right? 10,000 a year for 40 years is only 400,000. You work 4 years and make that, but it took you 40 years to save that, to save 4 years worth of income, which with inflation is not really gonna be worth that anyway. But even if it was, that's only gonna last you 4 years. You can't save your way to retirement or some of the other goals. You have to invest. You have to invest. You have to get your money working for you. So I think that and the earlier you do it, the better. See, because what happens when you invest your dollar, you put your dollar to work, and your dollar comes back and says, "Hey, I brought you some quarters." And then you go and take those quarters, you don't go and spend them. You put them where you put the dollars, and then the quarters start bringing you back some dimes. And then the dimes so you got to put the money to work. You put the money, the kids of the money to work. You put the grandkids of the money to work. You keep letting that money work. And the longer the time you have to do it, and I say this because most people in their 20s don't. Most people wait until they've got kids, they're married, they've got, all these added responsibilities, or I'm waiting for me to get the, really good career with a really good pay. And it's like, what you're missing out on is the time to allow that money to work, because you can get more money, you can't get more time. It's the world we live in. So you want to start as early as you possibly can, so that way you can take advantage of the time that you do have.
Question number 9. Why is it important to start saving?
Well, like I was just mentioning, the most important reason to start saving for retirement early is because most people aren't. If you look at the numbers, about 90% of people will not be able to retire. That's a lot of people. And the majority of them will still be working or be on some government assistance or be leaning on a family member or friend to be able to maintain their lifestyle, or they won't be with us, and they don't have to worry about none of this, okay? They'll be with the Lord. And so, but that last about 5% or so, they put away enough money over time and allowed that money to work for them over time, consistently putting away money month in, month out, for a period of years, of decades, that has allowed them to amass enough money to be able to comfortably say, listen, I no longer have to our paycheck. Retirement doesn't mean that you do nothing. It just means that you now have the option. Remember I was telling you earlier, as you keep more money each month, you have more options. The longer you do this process, the more options you have, and you eventually arrive to a stage where we call financial independence, where you now have the option of whether or not you want to work, because your bills will be paid.
For that. And also when it comes to retirement, life insurance is also a big thing in the air. And why?
Life insurance is important, and mainly, let me just change the words for you. It should really be called income protection. Okay? Life insurance, we don't replace nobody's life, okay? Can't replace the life, but you can replace the income. And so the reason why that's so important is if you got a husband and a wife and they got 2 kids and they each bring in 50 grand a year, right? So they got 100 grand a year lifestyle that they're living off, right? Because most people are living paycheck to paycheck. So they're living off everything that they make, all right? Not everybody, but most. And so if that's the case, and God forbid husband passes away, the wife has 2 kids, $50,000 that she makes at her job, but they have $100,000. What's going to happen to her and the kids? It's not a good situation. So we can't bring the husband back, but what you can do with life insurance is have protected his income, so that way that family can get that $50,000 a year, at least until the kids are ready to go to college or something along those lines. So that way, at the end of the day, a loss of a loved one, that's near and dear to me, because I lost my dad 12 days after my 17th birthday. And like I said, I'm one of 8. So, he had a 6-figure income. If my parents didn't make the right decision to plan ahead, a 17-year Ford incident, then where would our family be? I know we wouldn't have been able to continue living like we were living. And so it's not, so that way it's just so that they don't have to be so overwhelmed financially. You're already overwhelmed with grief and emotion and everything else that comes along with that. But the last thing you want to do is have to worry about, how's the house going to get paid? How's the rent going to get paid? How's the cars, the food, the utilities, whatever. We built this life together. And now one of us left before, and now are we going to leave the rest of the family hanging? Most people want to leave their family in a better place, or at least the same, what they were providing while they were here.
Definitely. By having life insurance, it helps your family to not have that difficulty, not have that burden, not have that stress, and be overwhelmed. Because like Fernando says, grieving is hard enough. but then trying to figure out, how do I pay for the funeral? How do I get these kids to college? How do I pay for the schooling? There's a lot of steps that are gonna, sometimes it gets really overwhelming. It can break somebody. But then once you have the money, the life insurance, the protection plan, the protection plan, now you're gonna just be, your shift is gonna be focused on grieving instead of focusing on finance. Last question. Question 11, what is some piece of advice that you would give to the youth?
Well, I'd say the biggest thing, because, obviously I've been in this space, because of my mom, my parents, since I was young. And one of the biggest things is that most of my friends and the people that I wanted to share this information and the things that I was learning from my parents to them is that they didn't see it. It didn't make sense to them. It didn't register. It was like, man, what you talking about retirement for? I'm getting my first job. It didn't hit them. They weren't on that wave. And so young people, and I still consider myself young. I ain't hit 30 yet. Even then, I'll be young. I'll be the new definition of it. So, but what I would say, start early and start small. Start early and start small. You don't have to feel like, I'm going to wait until I got this going on. I'm going to wait until, if you're waiting until the perfect situation, guess what? It's not going to arrive. And then you're going to say what 95% of the people that I sit down with say is, man, I wish I would have started when I was your age. Man, I wish I would have started when I heard this. Man, I wish I would have known what you're talking about when I was your age. And, it would be nice if they had known it, but majority of people that hear it, especially young people, don't apply it. So you could know the exercise, you could know what to do, but unless you go to the gym and work out or work out from home or unless you apply what you know, it doesn't make any difference. So my suggestion, my only advice would be start early and start small. Start wherever you're at, because you'll build the discipline where when you get better and you have more income and life starts looking more bright the way that you want it to look, you'll already have the habits that'll allow you to be successful with you.
Thank you so much, Fernando, for being here today. Big shout out to your mother for putting a plan. It's still pouring out to you. All the information will be in the description below. This will not be the last time you guys will be seeing us. Thank you so much, Fredro, and thank you so much for your mom.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming back. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe if you're new. Please turn on your post notification. That way, anytime I upload, YouTube will send you a notification. This is Motivation for Young Christian by Esron. I'll see you guys in the next video.